I paid for every Christmas year after year. Then I saw their group chat named Holiday Parasite. I shut down every payment, sent the receipts, and went completely silent. The notification hit my phone at 2:47 in the morning. I was lying there in the dark, bone-tired after another 12-hour shift at the hospital, too wired to sleep. My thumb hovered over the glowing screen as I squinted at a chat name I didn't recognize. It turned out someone had meant to remove me from the family group, Reality Check, but accidentally added me instead. The first message I saw froze me. Thank God she's covering the turkey again this year. I wasn't about to drop $200 on that. My sister-in-law Brenda. She's so desperate to be included, she wrote. She'll pay for anything. It's honestly sad. Then my brother Matt chimed in. Holiday Parasite strikes again. Christmas tree emoji. Money with wings. My cousin Nora added a laughing emoji. My hands shook as I scrolled up. The chat had been going for 3 whole years. 3 years of my family joking about how I paid for their holidays while they mocked me behind my back. There were screenshots of my Venmo payments plastered with laughing emojis. Jokes about my nurse's salary. Comments about how stupid I was not to notice they were milking me. My own mother had sent a gif of someone throwing money into a fire with the caption, Lena's Christmas spirit. Lena, that's me. The family ATM apparently. My throat burned as I kept reading, each message cutting deeper. They'd even turned it into a betting pool. Guessing what I'd pay for next. My aunt had pocketed $50 after I volunteered to cover hotel rooms for our family trip to Colorado last year. $50. They'd literally profited off my kindness twice. I sat there in the dark of my tiny studio apartment, the one I could barely afford because I'd been sending money home for every holiday, birthday, or emergency they made up. The same apartment I'd furnished with secondhand stuff because just a month ago, I'd wired my mom $3,000 for her medical bills. Scrolling through those messages, I learned it had paid for a cruise with her boyfriend instead. Should we tell her we're planning Christmas at the cabin this year? Someone wrote. She'll totally pay for the rental if we say Mom's heart can't handle the stress of hosting. Genius, another replied. Lena's such a people pleaser. Just mention Mom's health and she'll open her wallet like a trained seal. The words blurred as tears ran down my cheeks. Trained seal. Holiday Parasite. Too stupid to realize. I'd been a nurse for 7 years, working overtime, taking on extra shifts, skipping vacations. I told myself I was helping my family, being responsible, being the one who made it. My mom used to brag about me to her friends. My daughter, the nurse. With so much pride in her voice. I thought she was proud of me. Turns out she was proud of my paychecks. The worst message came from my younger sister, Erin, the one I'd helped through college. I'd paid for her textbooks, her meal plan, even her sorority dues when she cried about feeling left out. Lena's working another holiday shift this year, she'd written. More money for us. Maybe I'll finally get that Gucci bag since she's covering Christmas dinner and Mom and Dad's gifts. You're terrible, Nora had replied. But she makes it too easy. She volunteers. I volunteered because every time I came home, someone would mention how hard things were. How Dad's truck needed repairs. How Matt couldn't afford Christmas gifts for his kids. How Grandma's medication was so expensive. I felt guilty having a stable income while they struggled. Or so I thought. But then I remembered Matt's Instagram posts from his Vegas trip, just days after I'd sent him $800 for the kids. Brenda flashing a new designer purse in every photo. Erin's apartment filled with expensive furniture. They weren't struggling, they were splurging. With my money. I scrolled further. Each message was another stab. They joked about my weight, my dating life, even my boring career stories. Nora had written a whole paragraph mocking me for showing up to her wedding in a dress from Target, while everyone else wore designer labels. But what do you expect from someone who spends all her money on other people? She'd added, laughing. The irony made my stomach twist. They ridiculed me for not treating myself while exploiting the very reason I couldn't. Then came last Easter. I'd sent Mom $1,500 for the family dinner. She'd said she was hosting 20 people and needed help. The chat told a different story. Only 8 coming, she'd written. But Lena doesn't need to know. The extra cash can cover my Botox. My hands trembled so badly I nearly dropped the phone. My mom had used money I earned wiping up blood and holding dying patients' hands to inject poison into her face. Then she posted selfies caption, "Blessed and grateful for family." I reached the thread from my last birthday. I'd turned 32 and spent it alone in my apartment, eating a grocery store cupcake after a double shift. I'd posted a photo with the caption, "Another year wiser." The family chat had erupted. "Did you see Lena's sad birthday post? So pathetic. Maybe if she wasn't working all the time, she'd have friends. She works all the time so she can send us money. It's called priorities." Brenda had added a gif of someone crying into a cupcake. 15 laughing reactions. That same day, I'd picked up the double shift because Matt said his electricity got shut off and needed $400 immediately. I sent it. He never lost power. 2 days later, he posted about his brand new gaming PC, top of the line, easily $2,000. It was everywhere once I looked. Every emergency that had pulled me away from my own life had been fake or exaggerated. They'd cry, tell me how desperate they were, I'd send the money, and then they'd brag online about what they bought. My aunt's broken furnace? It worked fine. She just wanted a vacation in Miami. My cash paid for it. The last message I read was from Mom, 2 Christmases ago. Lena just asked if she can bring someone to dinner, some guy from her hospital. I told her we don't have space, lol. Can't have her distracted from her ATM duties by some boyfriend. I'd been seeing Derek, a respiratory therapist, for 3 months. I'd been so excited to introduce him to my family. When Mom told me there wasn't enough space at Christmas, I believed her without question and even apologized for asking. Derek and I broke up 2 months later. He'd said I always put my family before our relationship, that I was never really present because I kept working extra shifts to send them money. He was right. And I hadn't even realized that my family had been the ones pulling the strings. As I kept scrolling, I saw messages about other boyfriends, other friends I'd once brought around. It hit me that they'd been systematically isolating me for years, cutting off every connection that didn't serve them. The lonelier I became, the more I leaned on them for comfort, and the more money I poured into their lives. It wasn't just manipulation. It was emotional warfare, dressed up as family loyalty. I found entire betting pools about my life. They guessed when I might finally replace my old 15-year-old Honda, not knowing I could have done it long ago if I hadn't been bailing them out of fake emergencies. They joked about whether I'd ever move out of my sad little apartment, and brainstormed what new sob story would work best to squeeze money from me for spring break. They dissected my compassion like a business model, turning my kindness into a resource they could exploit. Every decent part of me had been identified, studied, and monetized. The chat was still active. A new message popped up right then. "Is Lena coming to Christmas this year? Need to know if we should bother cooking or if she'll just pay for catering again like last year." Another replied, "Oh, she'll come. Where else would she go? She has no life outside of work and being our personal Santa Claus." My hands stopped trembling. A sharp, icy calm spread through my chest, replacing the heartbreak with something far more powerful: rage. They thought I had no life. They thought I was so desperate for their acceptance that I'd bankroll them forever. They had no idea who they were dealing with. I opened my laptop and started working. First, I went through every account, every payment app, every subscription tied to their names. The Hulu account everyone used, mine. Netflix, mine. The Costco membership my mom's boyfriend used every weekend, mine. The family cell phone plan covering my parents, my brother Matt, my sister Erin, and his wife Brenda. All in my name, all charged to my card. 6 lines for 3 years, more than $4,000 in phone bills alone. The Disney Plus subscription my nieces used. The Spotify family plan. The Amazon Prime account that gave them all free shipping. The iCloud storage my mom filled with selfies and vacation photos. Every bit of it mine. Then there were the direct payments. I'd kept neat records for tax purposes, thinking it was all legitimate. Maybe some could even count as dependent care or deductible gifts. $12,000 for last Christmas alone. The cabin rental, the food, the gifts, the decorations, even the gas money for everyone's drive up to the mountains. $8,000 for Thanksgiving across 3 years. $15,000 in emergency loans that never got paid back. $6,000 for Erin's education costs. Thousands more for kids' parties, insurance payments, warranties, and subscriptions. $73,000 total. I stared at the spreadsheet, my stomach turning. 73 grand. I could have bought a house, paid off my student loans, built an actual life for myself. Instead, I'd financed their vacations, handbags, and Botox appointments while they mocked me in a group chat. They called me a parasite, but I realized the truth. I'd been the host, feeding their lives while they drained mine. I took screenshots of everything, the messages, the receipts, the fake sob stories. Then I started my cleanup operation. I knew better than to act recklessly. 7 years in nursing had taught me that before you cut someone loose, you plan every move. I created a brand new email address, one they didn't know existed, and changed the contact information on every account. New passwords, two-factor authentication linked to a Google Voice number they'd never seen. Once I had complete control, I started dismantling everything. The phone plan was first, 6 lines costing me $340 a month. I logged into Verizon and checked the usage history. Matt burned through nearly 50 gigabytes a month streaming videos. Brenda spent hours on social media. Erin had racked up 6 months of international charges calling her boyfriend in France. My parents' usage was mild by comparison, though Mom's newfound TikTok obsession had driven up the data. I downloaded every bill and usage report from my records, then called Verizon. The rep tried to persuade me to transfer the lines to their names. I politely declined. The lines would be terminated in 48 hours. I marked the exact time in my calendar. Next were the streaming services. Netflix was the easiest and the most satisfying. For profiles, not one of them was mine. Matt's queue was full of crime documentaries. Brenda binged reality TV about rich housewives, fittingly enough. Erin had her list of romantic comedies. Mom had somehow figured out how to watch those British baking shows on a constant loop. I deleted every profile but mine, changed the password twice just to be sure, and activated every security setting that would boot out anyone still logged in. Then I moved on to Hulu, Disney+, HBO Max, Paramount+, and the rest. 7 streaming subscriptions in total, nearly $100 a month. Money I'd been throwing away even though I barely had time to watch a single show because I was always working. Each account got the same treatment. Passwords reset, devices wiped, access revoked. The Costco membership turned out to be the most enlightening. I logged in and found I could view the purchase history. My mom had been shopping there nearly twice a week, buying everything from basic groceries to luxury items. $600 on an outdoor furniture set, $300 on a stand mixer, cases of expensive wine, and party platters for gatherings I'd never been invited to. My brother Matt had been buying car supplies, winter tires, oil filters, accessories. The same tires I realized that he'd told me he couldn't afford, which was why I'd sent him $500 for repairs. I canceled the membership immediately and requested a prorated refund. A small amount came back to me, but the satisfaction was priceless. The iCloud storage was petty, but it made me smile. Mom had been backing up her entire digital life, photos, videos, files, to my 2 terabyte plan. I downgraded to the free 5 gig plan, and watched as the system started bombarding her with warnings that her backup had failed. She wouldn't lose anything permanently, but she'd have to deal with the inconvenience herself. At her age, with her patience level, that was going to be a week of confusion and frustrated phone calls. I could practically picture her calling Matt or Erin for help, both of them realizing what I'd done, watching the horror set in as they understood their gravy train had derailed. Then came the more expensive surprises. I discovered I'd been paying for Matt's car insurance for a full year. He'd called me once, frantic about losing coverage, and I'd added him to my multi-vehicle policy without thinking. That was $215 a month gone. I called my insurance provider and had his vehicle removed immediately. The representative warned me it could leave him without coverage. That's his problem, I said flatly. Next, I found Erin's luxury gym membership. $89 a month. She told me it was for her mental health, and I'd set up autopay years ago. I called the gym and canceled it without hesitation. No notice required since I was the account holder. Then I moved on to Mom's trio of subscription boxes. Beauty products, snacks, and books, $140 a month. Gone. Brenda's meal kit delivery service, $240 a month. Gone. Dad's roadside assistance plan. The extended warranty I'd purchased for Matt's television. Erin's $95 meditation app. Every single automatic charge I could find. I combed through 17 months of credit card statements and uncovered 43 recurring payments linked to my family. Some were tiny $5 or $10 a month, but others were massive, like the $200 I'd been contributing monthly to what I thought was Grandma's care fund. The group chat had made it clear that Grandma was fine. She lived comfortably in a subsidized senior community with full healthcare coverage. The so-called care fund? Matt's bright idea to cover his boat payment. He'd even joked about making excuses when Grandma asked to go out on the lake. By 7 a.m., I'd canceled or transferred every one of those 43 accounts. My monthly expenses dropped by $1,847. That was over $22,000 a year I'd been spending to support people who called me a parasite. The absurdity hit me all at once. I started laughing loud, uncontrollable laughter that turned into crying, then back into laughter until I was gasping for breath. When the wave finally passed, I drafted an email to my landlord letting him know I wouldn't be renewing my lease when it expired in 3 months. I'd been renting month to month anyway. Then I opened Zillow and started looking at apartments in Portland, 3 states away, where a year ago I'd turned down a position at a major hospital. I hadn't taken it because my family had guilted me into staying. "Who will help us if you leave?" Mom had cried. The job posting was still up. I sent an email to the hiring director expressing my renewed interest. By 5 a.m., I'd also filed chargebacks on 3 loans my family had claimed were for medical emergencies but had clearly gone toward vacations and designer shopping sprees, according to their own social media posts. What they'd done technically counted as fraud. I wasn't pressing charges yet, but I had every receipt ready. When the sun started rising, I composed a message for the family reality check group chat. I attached a 37-page PDF filled with receipts, bank statements, and payment records. Every dollar I'd sent them over the past 5 years, neatly categorized and dated. Then I wrote, "Hi everyone. Looks like I was accidentally added to this chat. How convenient. Since I'm apparently the holiday parasite, I've decided to stop feeding the hosts. Attached, you'll find documentation of every payment I've made to this family over the past 5 years, totaling $73,249. Consider it my final Christmas gift. The truth about who the real parasites are. All shared services and subscriptions have been canceled, effective immediately. The phone plan disconnects in 48 hours. I will not be attending Christmas this year, or any year after. I won't be available for emergency loans, holiday expenses, or any kind of financial support. For anyone confused about why, scroll up. You spent 3 years making your feelings about me perfectly clear. I finally believe you. Merry Christmas. Don't contact me again." I hit send and blocked every single one of their numbers. Then I deleted my social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of it. I didn't want to see their reactions, didn't want their excuses or fake apologies. The thing about going nuclear is that you can't do it halfway. You have to commit. No hesitation. No looking back. Within minutes, my phone started vibrating with unknown numbers calling non-stop. I'd expected that. I powered it off completely. The hospital administration had offered me extra holiday shifts. Most nurses wanted time off. I'd always been the one volunteering, telling myself it was better to work than feel like an outsider at my family's celebrations. Now I knew the truth. I'd only ever been welcome when I came bearing gifts and open hands. So I said yes to every single shift from November 1st through January 15th. 75 straight days of time and a half pay. Double time on the holidays. With my base pay and overtime, I'd clear around $47,000 in 2.5 months. I worked. I slept. Then I worked again. No phone calls. No family. No social media. Just work. My coworkers noticed the shift before I even said anything. I'd always been polite but distant, the one who ducked out early to handle family stuff. Now I stayed. I joined them for drinks after shifts. I signed up for the hospital book club. I went to a Thanksgiving potluck at my colleague Jennifer's house and met her family. Real decent people who didn't measure worth by how much money someone could hand over. The weeks between cutting ties and Thanksgiving felt like living in another dimension. My old life couldn't reach me anymore. My phone stayed off except for work calls through my new number. I'd created a new email, forwarding only essential correspondence. Everything else from my old accounts vanished into digital oblivion. At work, I was sharper than I'd been in years. Without the constant stress of juggling my family's endless fake emergencies, my focus was mine again. I caught a medication error before it reached a patient. I noticed subtle changes in another patient's condition that the resident had missed, probably preventing a stroke. After that, my supervisor Linda pulled me aside. "Whatever's changed with you," she said, "keep doing it. You've always been good, but lately you've been exceptional." I didn't tell her that exceptional was just what happened when you stopped letting people bleed you dry. 3 weeks later came my first test. I was restocking supplies in the ICU when I heard my name, my old name. Not Lena Gray, the name I went by at work. Dolores Morrison. I froze. Nobody here knew that name. I turned and saw Aaron standing in the doorway, small and pale. "You can't be here," I said immediately. "This is a restricted area. Family consultation rooms are on the second floor." "Dolores, please," she said, stepping closer. "I just need 5 minutes." I didn't raise my voice. "Security," I called out. "Unauthorized visitor in the ICU." Her eyes widened in disbelief. "Del, come on." I drove 4 hours. A guard appeared almost instantly. Tight protocols always. "This person isn't authorized," I said calmly. "Please escort her out." "Dolores, I'm your sister," Erin cried, her voice cracking. "You can't just—" "I don't have a sister," I interrupted, steady and cold. "I'm an only child. Please remove her." She started crying as they led her away. I felt nothing. No guilt. No sadness. No nostalgia. She'd laughed about me behind my back, called me stupid while spending the tuition money I'd earned working double shifts. 5 minutes of tears couldn't erase 3 years of betrayal. 10 minutes later, Linda found me in the supply closet, clipboard in hand, counting 4 bags like nothing had happened. "Want to talk about it?" she asked gently. "Nothing to talk about," I said without looking up. "Someone tried to access a restricted area. Security handled it." "Dolores," she said softly. "That woman said she was your sister." I paused just long enough to meet her eyes. "I don't have a sister." Linda studied me for a long moment before nodding. "Okay, but if you ever do want to talk, my office door's open. And for what it's worth, whatever happened, I'm proud of how you handled it. You were professional, calm. No drama." I nodded once, silently. When she left, I went back to my list, finished inventory, logged the supplies, and returned to my patients. Routine. Structure. The things that kept me anchored. Thanksgiving came. Jennifer's invitation had been real, and I'd accepted. I showed up with an expensive bottle of wine and a homemade sweet potato casserole, both things I could actually afford now. Her home was warm and full of life. Her husband, Tom, cracked dad jokes while carving the turkey. Their 3 kids raced through the house with foam swords and wild laughter. Jennifer's mom, Carol, stood at the counter teaching the youngest how to roll pie crust. "You must be Lena," Carol said, brushing flour off her apron. "Jennifer talks about you all the time. The brilliant nurse who never complains about extra shifts." "That's me," I said with a shy smile. Compliments still felt strange. "We're so glad you're here," she said warmly. "Jennifer mentioned you're alone for the holidays." There it was, the question I'd known would come. I took a breath. "My family and I aren't in contact anymore," I said simply. "It's better for everyone that I stepped away." Carol gave me a soft, knowing smile. "Good for you," she said. "Too many people stay in harmful situations because of guilt or obligation. Family should make you feel loved, not used." That word, used asterisk, hit harder than I expected. It sounded different coming from a stranger, someone who had nothing to gain by saying it. It was validation I didn't know I needed. Dinner was loud, messy, and absolutely wonderful. The food wasn't perfect. Tom's turkey came out a little dry. Jennifer had gone overboard on the salt in the green beans, and one of the kids spilled a full glass of cranberry juice on the table, but no one cared. Everyone laughed, cleaned up the mess, and kept right on eating. Carol told us a story about the time she'd served a half-frozen turkey to 20 guests. "We ordered pizza," she said, chuckling. "Best Thanksgiving we ever had." It was the year we stopped pretending everything had to be perfect. I thought about all the Christmases I'd spent with my family, Catered meals, matching outfits, expensive decorations, the illusion of togetherness that I had bankrolled, and realized how hollow those gatherings had been. This imperfect dinner with near strangers was worth more than all those picture-perfect holidays combined. Later, after dessert, while the kids played board games, Jennifer and I stepped out onto the back porch with steaming mugs of coffee. "Thanks for inviting me," I said quietly. "This was really nice." "Thank you for coming," she replied. "I know it can feel weird spending holidays with coworkers." "You're more than a coworker," I said, surprising myself. "You're a friend. Maybe my only real friend." Jennifer smiled softly but didn't say anything for a long moment. Then gently she asked, "What happened with your family, Del? You don't have to tell me, but I've worked with you for 3 years and you've changed so much lately. You seem lighter. Like you finally put something heavy down." So I told her. Not every detail but enough: the group chat, the mockery, the money. Her face shifted as I spoke, from confusion to disbelief, then to anger and sadness. When I finished, she shook her head slowly. $73,000? She repeated. "Del, that's financial abuse." The word hit me like a punch. Abuse. I never thought of it that way. "That seems like a strong word," I murmured. But Jennifer was firm. "They lied to you, manipulated you, used guilt and love as tools. That's not family, it's exploitation. The fact that they share your DNA doesn't make it any less abusive. It makes it worse." Hearing it laid out so plainly cracked something open inside me. My throat tightened. I blinked hard, refusing to cry. "I feel stupid," I admitted. "Like I should have seen it." "Con artists go after smart people," she said. "Because smart people assume they can't be conned. You're not stupid, Delaware. You're kind. And they weaponize that kindness." Inside, her teenage daughter was whining about wanting a new phone, and Jennifer just laughed. "Save up your allowance," she said. No one expected someone else to foot the bill for their wants. It was such a healthy, normal moment that I nearly cried into my coffee. December 24th came. I was working a 12-hour shift in the ICU when a woman in her 60s approached the nurse's station, looking lost. "I'm looking for my daughter," she said. "She's a nurse here, Dolores Morrison." My stomach dropped. I recognized her immediately despite the changes. My mother. She looked older, thinner, her hair shorter, but the desperate edge in her eyes was the same. "I'm sorry," I said evenly. "There's no one here by that name." It wasn't exactly a lie. I'd filed for my legal name change 2 months earlier, and though the paperwork wasn't finalized yet, Dolores Morrison was already dead to me. "Please," my mother begged. "I know she works here. I need to talk to her." Before I had to answer, security arrived. Apparently, she'd been causing a scene in the lobby for nearly an hour. They let her out as she screamed my old name. I didn't flinch. My hands were steady when I charted my next patient's vitals. 2 weeks later, on January 3rd, the Portland hospital offered me the head nurse position in their cardiac unit. $40,000 more per year than I made, plus a signing bonus and relocation support. I accepted within the hour. By mid-January, my name change was official. Dolores Morrison was gone. In her place, Dolores Green, my grandmother's maiden name. New driver's license, new nursing license, new everything. A clean slate. My apartment in Portland was twice the size of my old one, with a gym, a rooftop garden, and sunlight pouring through big windows. I bought real furniture, new solid pieces I chose for myself. I hung art on the walls. I adopted a gray tabby from the shelter and named her Phoenix. Rising from the ashes, indeed. My old email inbox filled with messages for months, all automatically filed into a folder labeled dead to me. I never opened them, until one day in March when curiosity got the better of me. Mom's emails were long, dramatic guilt trips about family loyalty and forgiveness. Brenda sent a 2-line apology, blaming her behavior on postpartum depression from 4 years ago. Matt claimed I'd misunderstood the tone of the group chat. "We were joking," he wrote. "Can't you take a joke?" But one message stood out. It was from Aaron. Short. Sincere. Asterisk, "You paid for my education and I called you stupid. You're the smartest person I know and I'm the idiot. I don't deserve forgiveness, but I need you to know I'm sorry. I've started paying you back. $200 a month in an account under your name. I'll send the info when you're ready. If you never want to talk again, I understand. I just wanted you to know I mean it. Asterisk I didn't reply. But I didn't delete it either. The others could rot. Aaron's email stayed. A tiny seed of something like hope, maybe forgiveness buried deep but alive. Then there was one more email. My father. The man who'd been silent in the group chat, whose name I'd seen listed but who'd almost never spoken. Dolores, he wrote. Asterisk I didn't know about the chat until you sent those screenshots. Asterisk my father's email was short but devastating in its honesty. Your mother showed me her phone, he wrote. Asterisk I saw what they said. What I let happen by staying silent when I should have protected you. You deserved better from all of us, especially from me. I should have stepped in. I filed for divorce last week. I'm in an apartment now, seeing a therapist to understand how I enabled all this. I'm not asking for forgiveness or another chance. I just want you to know that I see what I failed to do, and I'm trying to become the kind of man who wouldn't fail you again. Even if you never let me back into your life. I love you. I'm proud of you. And I'm sorry. Dad. Asterisk I read it 3 times before closing my laptop. Some bridges you burn yourself. Some burn on their own. And some collapse quietly after years of cracks you were too busy patching to notice. Spring came to Portland dressed in cherry blossoms and rain. I started dating a man named Michael, a high school teacher with kind eyes and an easy laugh. He admired my dedication to nursing not because he could benefit from it, but because he respected it. We took cooking classes together, burned a few meals, and laughed until midnight. He never once asked me to pay for his half. That alone felt revolutionary. Jennifer invited me to her family's Easter gathering. Her mother hugged me as soon as I walked in. When she asked about my family, I told her the truth. I don't have one anymore. She held me tighter. You do now, honey, she said softly. I cried in her bathroom for 10 minutes before rejoining the table and devouring 3 helpings of ham. Life began to settle into something calm, something mine. My savings grew faster than I'd ever imagined. In April, I made a single payment that cleared my student loans completely, $32,000 gone. Seeing that zero balance felt like breathing for the first time in years. In May, I opened my mailbox to find a cashier's check for $1,000 and a handwritten note from Emily. Asterisk first payment. Many more to come. Your address was listed in the public record for your name change. I'm not stalking you, I promise. I just want to make this right. Asterisk I deposited the check and texted the number she'd included. Asterisk acknowledged. Asterisk nothing more. By June my mother found me. I came home to see her sitting on the curb outside my apartment building, clutching her purse like a lifeline. Security will remove you if I call them, I said, walking straight to the door. Dolores, please, she pleaded. That's not my name anymore, I said without stopping. You're my daughter, she said, voice breaking. I turned to face her for the first time in half a year. She looked small, fragile. The woman who used to braid my hair and make pancakes on Sunday mornings felt like a stranger now. Your daughter died, I said quietly. She died the day she realized her family only saw her as a wallet with legs. You have 60 seconds to leave before I call the police. She left in 45. I didn't feel triumph, just exhaustion. That night, I sent a brief email to my father. Asterisk acknowledged your message. Not ready to talk. Maybe someday. Focus on yourself. Asterisk his reply came minutes later. Asterisk that's more than I deserve. Thank you. Asterisk summer in Portland was beautiful. Michael and I hiked Mount Hood, ate street food by the waterfront, and made plans for places we might go next. I finally took the vacation I dreamed about for years, 2 weeks in Greece, wandering through sunlit ruins and turquoise coastlines. I posted photos on my new private Instagram, 30 followers, all people who truly knew me. Nobody asked for money. Nobody needed anything from me but my company. It was the most peaceful version of my life I'd ever known. In August, Emily sent another check, this time for $500, and a longer note. Asterisk I got a promotion. Sending more this month. I told Marcus and Rebecca what I'm doing, and they called me stupid for paying you money you don't even need. That's how I know it's the right thing to do. You deserve better. I'm trying to be better. Asterisk she signed it, asterisk M. Asterisk I replied. Asterisk proud of your promotion. Use half that money on yourself. I mean it. Asterisk her response came an hour later. Asterisk only if you promise to let me take you to dinner someday if you're ever back east. No agenda. Just sisters eating overpriced pasta. Asterisk I didn't promise but I didn't say no. September brought cooler weather and a quiet realization. I had rebuilt my entire life in less than a year. New name. New city. New career. New friends. Everything the old Dolores had been too afraid to chase because she'd been too busy holding up everyone else's world. The new me wasn't afraid anymore. I got a tattoo, a phoenix rising from fire, inked across my shoulder blade. When the artist asked about its meaning, I smiled. Rebirth, I said. Those are the best kind, she replied. October came with falling leaves and a package from my father. Inside was a hand-knit scarf in forest green, uneven and full of dropped stitches, and a note. Asterisk your grandmother taught me to knit before she passed. I'm not good at it yet, but I'm trying. Stay warm. No response needed. Asterisk I wore that imperfect scarf every cold day that fall. The first anniversary of the message, what I'd come to call the message, fell on a quiet Tuesday. I just finished a night shift when I checked my mail. Another check from Emily, still consistent, still steady. And an email from my father with pictures of him volunteering at a center for homeless veterans. Trying to be useful to people who actually need help, he wrote. Asterisk trying to become someone you could be proud of again someday. Asterisk I looked at my calendar. Christmas was 8 weeks away. Michael invited me to spend it with his family in Seattle. Jennifer invited me back to hers. For once I had choices, people who wanted my presents, not my asterisk presents. Asterisk I chose Jennifer's. Her family's warmth reminded me what belonging was supposed to feel like. On Christmas Eve I worked a half shift, then headed to her house for dinner. Her kids performed a hilariously chaotic nativity play with the family dog cast as a confused sheep. Tom told awful jokes, Carol asked about my cat, and everyone laughed until their sides hurt. No guilt. No manipulation. Just love. After dinner I checked my email one last time. One new message from Emily. Asterisk Merry Christmas. I'm not expecting a response. Just wanted you to know I think about you every day. I'm still sorry. Still paying back. Still trying. Hope you're happy wherever you are. Asterisk I smiled, tears stinging my eyes. For the first time in my life I wrote back asterisk Merry Christmas I'm happy. Keep being better. That's enough. Asterisk her reply came almost instantly. Asterisk you responded. Best Christmas gift ever. Love you sis. Asterisk I stared at those 3 words. Asterisk love you sis. Asterisk part of me wanted to say it back. Part of me wasn't ready. Instead I typed asterisk talk next year. Asterisk maybe she replied. Asterisk maybe is enough. Thank you. Asterisk I closed my laptop and went back to the living room, where Jennifer's daughter was trying and failing to get the family dog to wear a Santa hat. Michael handed me a glass of wine and pressed a kiss to my forehead. Someone started a board game that immediately turned into good-natured chaos and laughter. This was what holidays were meant to be. Joy without obligation. Love without a price tag. A year ago, I'd been the holiday parasite, unknowingly financing a family that saw me as nothing more than an ATM with a pulse. Now I was simply asterisk Dolores. Asterisk not their provider, not their scapegoat, just myself. Free. Whole. The best revenge, I'd learned, isn't about destruction. It's about reconstruction. I hadn't just escaped. I'd rebuilt. I'd taken everything they burned and forged something better from the ashes. And for once I had no desire to look back. Almost none. On New Year's Eve, as fireworks crackled somewhere in the distance, my phone buzzed with one final message, from my father. Asterisk I know you're not ready. You may never forgive me, and I've accepted that. But I wanted you to know I'm divorcing your mother. I'm in therapy. I've cut off everyone who was in that chat, and I'm trying to live differently. Not for you, for me. So I can look at myself in the mirror again. You deserved a father who protected you. I'm becoming that man, even if it's too late. Happy New Year, sweetheart. Asterisk I saved the message but didn't respond. Not yet. Maybe someday. Some bridges can be rebuilt. Others should remain ash. The trick is knowing which deserve the work. As midnight drew near, Michael wrapped an arm around me. What do you want for the new year? He asked. I looked around the room, at the laughter, the warmth, the life I'd built from scratch, and smiled. More of this, I said. More peace. More joy. More people who love me for me, not for what I can give them. That's not too much to ask, he said softly. For the first time in my life, I believed him. The clock struck 12. Champagne fizzed. People cheered. And I realized that once upon a time, I'd paid for everyone else's happiness every Christmas. But this year I'd paid for something different, my freedom. And it was, without question, the best investment I'd ever made.